Hey, I'm Felissa Rose, and you're watching Keto and Crime.
Pickled vegetables, fermented vegetables. No one is denying the wonderful health benefits of fermented foods. Foods that have been submerged into a brine, left out at room temperature for 2 to 3 days to really get the lactobacilli going in there. It's very beneficial for the gut, helps fight candida infections, and also just makes them a bit more digestible and ups the vitamin content. In fact, fermenting of vegetables has been around for thousands of years, more for the purposes of preserving the foods rather than the health benefits. The health benefits have been a recent discovery in the 20th century and now in the 21st century, but it's always been around to preserve nutrition for man. And we've only recently discovered how wonderful it can be for the gut. And also it tastes really good. I don't know about you, but I love a pickle. That didn't sound too good, did it? But anyway. Also, juicing. Juicing has been around for a long time. The process of juicing up a vegetable and a fruit, getting rid of all of the hard to digest fiber and just leaving the easy to digest nutrient rich juice has been also a time honored tradition. And I'm not knocking either of these practices, but when bad players step into the market, they can certainly take very fine, time-tested methods of preservation and nutrition and just turn them on their heads. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the cult that called itself the poop cult. I'm not even joking. We're going to talk about Jilly Juice. Strap in, y'all. It's going to be a wild one. And as always, this video is brought to you by our brand new full channel partner, Keto Crisp. The wonderful folks over at 𝐲𝐿𝐼𝐸.com have officially signed on to partner with me in both my weight loss journey, which I am back on now, as well as sponsoring the channel. They have signed me up for a brand new affiliate program. So if you click the link down below, as well as put in my discount code, you'll receive 15% off your first order, and I do get a tiny commission if you do purchase. So it helps the channel and you get something tasty and healthy. These are great bars. They satisfy. They keep you full for a long time. They have a lot of great nutrients, a lot of great natural ingredients. And for those of us in the keto and low carb world, we've often been demonized as not a friend to the animals. But these are 100% plant-based. So you can feel good about that too if you are of the vegetarian or vegan keto lifestyle. These are also for you. So with that being said, I want to say a huge shout out to Keto Crisp for sponsoring the channel and helping me to stay on the air here. And thank you all. So if you'd like to order some, definitely check them out below. I appreciate it.
People, this is 2.5 cups, and you want people to build up to drinking a gallon of this a day.
Right, because the thing is, people are very malnourished. What's going on is you're so immunocompromised, you're not absorbing all the nutrition. That's why you see mutation from people. And so when you actually flood your system, you're actually feeding your body what it wasn't ordinarily getting, because you're being undermined by parasites, you're being undermined by all the different toxins that are attacking you at the cellular level.
So here's the protocol. The Jilly Juice, 2 cups a day, work up to a gallon.
Yes.
Diet, which is certain raw nuts, seeds, oils, certain fruits, vegetables,
yes.
Certain meats. Healing management, prepare for pain, manage, change the juice amount, purge the mutations. So
That spry young lady was Jillian Epperly. She was born in Vietnam around 1973-74 and was adopted by American parents in 1975, growing up around Canton, Ohio. According to her, her father was in the biomedical industry where she learned that medical science and big pharma is all about the treatment, not the cure. Now, I'm not going to get into any ethical debates about that, but that is her understanding. And so she decided that it wasn't the best way to cure things. She also had maladies growing up. She struggled with thrush and other things as a young girl. And then when she got older, she had severe PMS. And she got online, or in the early days of online, to the wealth of knowledge that we know is online, and diagnosed herself. She found that the majority of all ailments that have ever plagued mankind come from fungi, namely Candida. And I'm on a search page here where I just typed in Candida, killing Candida. And as you can see, there is no shortage of natural cures for Candida, giving you all kinds of different supplements, home remedies, anything else that might simply control Candida. And she believes that fungi and Candida are the source of all of our problems. Now, Candida exists naturally in our body. It's there for a reason, folks. It's a counterbalance to the good bacteria in our body, just like the good bacteria in our body is a counter to the Candida. If either of those get out of line, you're going to have ailments, namely with Candida, yeast infections, thrush, all other kinds of symptoms, rashes, aches, pains, even nausea. And all of that results because the Candida overgrows, because something is wrong with the bacterial flow. So what most health experts recommend is a counterbalance to that, such as taking in foods that will help grow the amount of bacteria, good bacteria in your body, such as buttermilk, fermented foods, cultured products like yogurt, or taking an antifungal to kill off the fungal overgrowth, and controlling things that fungus feed off of, like sugar, controlling processed sugar, keeping fructose low, that sort of thing. Those are the time-tested, clinically observed treatments for fungus and Candida overgrowth. Now, what happens in our society, we have gotten to the point we have overused antibiotics, so we do have a lot of imbalance within the natural bacteria in our body, and so Candida can be a problem, but it's often used as an excuse for so many ailments that it's not responsible for. And as you can see, there's a whole flourishing industry to kill off Candida. And Jillian jumped right on this wagon, and her solution to Candida was infusing the body with massive amounts of roughage, water, and salt. And we're going to talk about that next. According to Jillian's protocol, as you can see, 2 cups of water, 2 cups of chopped cabbage, a whole tablespoon of pink Himalayan salt, and you're supposed to blend, cover it, leave it at room temperature about 3 days, and work your way up to a gallon a day. Now let's think about that. First of all, most health experts recommend the 8x8 rule for water consumption, fresh water consumption. That's 64 ounces, 1/2 gallon. So already, if you work your way up to a gallon, you're overdoing it with the water. Now, some people are advocates of a gallon of water a day. A gallon of fresh water a day is probably not going to cause a whole lot of health ramifications negatively for most people that are healthy. Now, but if you have certain ailments, even drinking a gallon of fresh water a day can cause things like headaches, nausea. It can cause your kidneys to not be able to process all the fluids and cause you to retain fluid, have swelling, all kinds of stuff if you're not 100% healthy. So be wary of that. I go more towards the 1/2 gallon of water a day myself. Now that can also be consumed in the amount of non-caffeinated beverages. Again, not a doctor. This is just what I've been told by actual health experts. So let's think about the protocol here. 1 gallon of water a day. So you're already overdoing it for most people that aren't healthy, and this is being marketed as a cure-all. Everything from candida, yeast infections, to regrowing of limbs and cells. Yes, you heard it yourself, saw it yourself right here. This lived in Facebook groups like a lot of calamities and a lot of craziness does. Beware. Don't get sucked into strange Facebook groups, although you can't find any of them now because Facebook has removed them. So yeah, this is where this lived, and people were making all kinds of outlandish claims. She claimed it would regrow limbs. She claimed it would reverse vasectomies. It would cure homosexuality. That if I drank this enough, I would no longer be a lesbian. This cures the desire for cooter, y'all. According to Jillian. Anyway, very broad claims that we all know could never be proven because they're just not true. But
all of these claims, but you have no data. You have no basis for this. You have some people that, well, you've not regrown any limbs. You haven't regrown any. You're not 312 years old. You don't have.
Well, of course not. I'm not missing any limbs.
Well,
so
what basis do you have for making these claims? And the reason, I assume you have pictures of people that have regrown arms and stuff.
Absolutely not, because I haven't gotten that far. I've only been doing this for a year.
So you don't have any proof that this regrows arms?
Proof is all relative. I've seen proof in smaller experiential circumstances.
That's not relative. You either prove you don't.
No, proof is relative.
Do you have any training?
Hold on a second.
Do you have any training?
I have enough training
by
looking at the internet and actually taking information. Right. The internet actually.
Yeah, and this where people find this is on the internet, right? Do you have any biochemical training?
No, absolutely not.
No.
What about the negative effects of this? This came out at a time where juicing and cleansing was huge for weight loss, for health, reset your body. You've all seen it. Celebrities have done it. But this was even more dangerous because instead of just infusing yourself with water, maple syrup, and a tablespoon of salt, which just sounds nasty, which was the other big cleanse of the day, this is actually putting your body in danger. So not only do you have too much water going into your system, health experts recommend 1 teaspoon, 2,300 milligrams of sodium, 1 teaspoon of added salt per day is what a human is supposed to ingest, not over that. So already this puts you in danger in 2 different ways. Too much water, and also because each tablespoon of that salt contains 3 teaspoons, and you're drinking that 8 times a day, because there's a tablespoon of salt in every 2 cups, you're basically at 24 times the recommended amount of salt and water. Now, what does drinking salt water in that kind of quantity do to your system? Blows it out. Your body is absolutely struggling between overhydration and dehydration. So your kidneys are going to be affected. Your circulatory system is going to be affected. You're going to be nauseous. You're going to have headaches. You're going to be put in the whole realm of a lot of stuff. And what's your body going to do? The only thing it can do, get rid of it as quick as you can. So you're going to go on a binge of excessive urination and diarrhea. And this is how this cult got the name, the poop cult. And they were happy about it. As you saw Jillian earlier, the more you poop, the better.
You acknowledge that they're going to feel really not great when they start drinking this.
What I'm acknowledging is that we're redefining the role of pain in our world, because what you do with pain right now is you squelch it with a pill, powder supplement, or opioid.
Okay,
right?
but you're saying they're not going to feel well when they drink this.
They're going to feel. They're going to feel they're going to feel healing.
She even has videos of herself sifting through her own poo, looking at what she says are dead parasites and dead fungi coming out of your body, when really it's just undigested food, because you do ingest a certain amount of nuts and oils and vegetables with this diet in addition. So all this water, all this roughage, because it's 2 cups of chopped cabbage or kale, which is high in fiber, another thing that blows out your digestive system, and your body just can't process it. It gets it out of there as quick as you can. So you eat, you poop, you eat, you poop. And so she was actually going through her excrement on camera showing all this undigested food, which is a symbol of malnutrition and your body malfunctioning, and saying that it was dead parasites and other dead matter that was making you sick leaving your body. And this caused a lot of trouble for a lot of people, but we're going to look at 2 cases right now.
And I agree with what he's saying about this being dangerous. There are desperate people in the world who just might suspend medical protocols, blindly hoping in desperation that somebody that tells them what they want to hear is going to save their life or that of a loved one.
One such case of someone bucking medical protocol was 55-year-old Bruce Wilmot. He was from Georgia. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and basically bucked medical protocol in order to do Jilly Juice because he really hoped it would save his life. He became a fanatical follower and documented his journey on Facebook in the Facebook groups we've talked about, but it ended up being a fairly short journey. Here is a Facebook post put out by Mr. Wilmot when he first started the Jilly Juice protocol. Some friends came over to his apartment to help him create all of this wonder drug that he thought was going to save his life. And this is what they came up with. And his daughter even commented that after the fermentation was done, that he even bought a second refrigerator and had it moved into his apartment to hold all the Jilly Juice. And he pretty much worked his way up to drinking a gallon of this a day. According to his daughter, he became emaciated. He was having symptoms of extreme diarrhea, other symptoms from the salt intake and from the intake of basically roughage, because this is cabbage. Cabbage and kale are wonderful things, but in this kind of amount, they can be deadly. So he was having extreme symptoms of dehydration, starvation, and pretty much becoming less lucid than he had been. According to his friends, he was a desperate man, desperate to live, and would have done anything to save his life. In fact, when he first started drinking his first cup of Jilly Juice, he did a video that he sent to Jillian herself. Let's take a look at that.
Jillian, I promised you me drinking a cup, so first one down. You can turn that off now.
Sadly, just a month after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and starting the juice protocol, Bruce passed away. His family found him unconscious on the floor of his apartment and took him to the hospital, where he later died. Unlike Bruce Wilmot, there have been other people that have had severe reactions to Jilly Juice and have lived. What's following is a brief segment with the story of one woman that had severe nausea and just the disgusting way that the creator of Jilly Juice talked to her, and another that had 2 brain strokes as a result of the dehydration and the salt content that come from Jilly Juice.
It includes diarrhea, chills, sometimes even fever.
There's a lot of salt and there's a lot of water that is induced into your body. That will cause a bit of a headache, a little bit of a nauseating feeling. My body is a little bit swollen.
When you are waterfalling, you are purging out, with some force, the things that do not belong in your body.
Well, Jillian, the creator of Jilly Juice, says part of the protocol after drinking the concoction is purging, which clears the gut of parasites and fungus. But Karen and Mickey say the purging process almost caused them to pass out.
Jillian targets the sick and the weak. She goes after people who are desperate for a cure.
I originally started doing the Jilly Juice in order to do a proper detox. And whatever Jillian was saying made a lot of sense. How harmful could cabbage juice be?
My experience with Jilly Juice was horrible. It tasted like swamp water.
I've always called it sewer water. The more I took of it, the longer I would be in the bathroom.
I had nothing but trouble. My kidneys hurt, my pancreas hurt. I had a headache that I could not get rid of.
Pain, cramps. I felt like there was a spike in my head.
My blood pressure was so high. My face was drooping. I was slurring my words. I wasn't going to have a stroke for Jillian.
My hand was numb. It was tingling. The fingers, I couldn't pry them apart. They were stuck together. I talked to the doctor, and he says, I think we need an MRI. They were able to definitively see the fact that there were 2 strokes. When I went to my cardiologist, he was the one that said, yes, dehydration happens with that much salt. When I did finally talk to Jillian, I was just trying to warn her, like, you really need to make sure you protect yourself. Her reaction was, well, you don't have to worry about that. I've got plenty of lawyers. And she says, you were supposed to keep drinking the juice. That was just a symptom. You didn't die. I said, no, I didn't die. Am I supposed to die to prove your theory?
Absolutely fantastic, and I applaud you, and I think that's wonderful. But you need to take responsibility for the people you're hurting instead of kicking them out, telling them they're wrong, telling us we did something wrong, and it's our fault. It's not our fault. It's your fault because you lied to us.
Okay, so substantiate the lie that was told.
That it can't hurt anyone, and it certainly could never kill you.
Well, here's the thing.
Yes, and I listened to those nauseating videos for hours.
So your intention was really to reinforce your belief system, but you tried this with a Hail Mary without really understanding.
Not a Hail Mary at all.
It was
I
a Hail
brew
Mary with you.
Every day. I brew.
I don't even remember even interacting with you.
That's right, you don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me why you started this to begin with.
I have really bad fibromyalgia, and the doctors have tried several things, and they don't work at all. And there'll be days I can't get out of bed.
And so when you started ingesting this, it was difficult.
Oh, horribly difficult.
And what happened?
The first time, I threw up. It took a while to sip at it.
Did it look like?
But luckily, there are people willing to challenge these kooks. Among them, YouTuber Jeff Holiday, who has done a huge amount of research into Jilly Juice and other scams. I'm going to link his channel right up there. Check him out. And he actually went on that Dr. Phil episode to confront Jillian. Let's check it out.
To make money and found a place to do it. Jeff Holiday is an out-of-work YouTuber who knows that he can get hits and clicks and that this would be the perfect thing for him to make money off of. So I hope you're paying your taxes and maybe give me a cut of whatever you're making because you're obviously making a lot of money off me.
Well, Jillian says a group of online trolls who have never tried her Jilly Juice are accusing her of trying to scam people and kill mothers and babies. Now, Jeff Holiday, a debunker of pseudoscience on YouTube, says Jillian is a liar and preys on desperate people. Take a look.
I'm here on the Dr. Phil show because I want to confront Jillian Epperly about the dangerous practices that she's spreading on the internet.
She's not a doctor. She's not a scientist. She doesn't have the education to understand what she's saying.
She's preying on vulnerable people, people looking for answers, looking for a way to heal themselves. It's very simple. Jilly Juice is a fraud. If you follow Jillian's protocol and you drink about a gallon of this crap a day, you're going to end up drinking 4 times the recommended healthy amount of salt. Not only does this not do what she thinks it's supposed to do, but it is actually harmful because it's convincing people to give themselves sodium poisoning. That can lead to confusion, dizziness, seizures, coma, strokes, even death. Jillian believes that her juice has special properties because it fights candida. She believes that candida is a source of all disease, dysfunction, chronic illness, cancer. The overall goal with Jillian's protocol is very simple. You have to fight the candida by drinking the Jilly Juice and increasing good bacteria. How you do this? Well, that's simple. You just have to have waterfalls, which is their clever name for violent diarrhea. There is no evidence to back this up. How having copious amounts of diarrhea is somehow going to cure your AIDS or your cancer makes no sense. She's even been on record lovingly calling this a poop cult. Jillian also believes that her juice can help you regrow your limbs, regrow your organs, and if you really want to top it off, she also believes it can cure the gay. Jillian needs to be stopped. This can get worse. People can really get hurt. People could die.
Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You've been tracking this and seeing what she says on the internet. As you think these claims are outrageous and dangerous.
I think they're insane. Absolutely insane. And I think you are actually a dangerous human being.
Okay, that's your opinion.
He raises a very good point. You have...
And so there you have it. In 2017, after the death of Bruce Wilmot, people began to look seriously into the repercussions of this. And eventually the Facebook group that we looked at earlier has now been removed from Facebook. It had over 58,000 members. In 2018, the Federal Trade Commission officially issued a warning to Jillian saying that publishing something as scientific when it hasn't been evaluated is against the law. And local authorities in Canton, Ohio have also begun investigations. As of today, though, she is still peddling her wares on other platforms, on the web in general, but a lot of social media have kicked her off. And you can find her brand new book, The Evolution of the Jilly Juice Protocol, on Amazon, in paperback only, it looks like. But you can find it there. If you guys would like me to read it and review it for you, I'd be more than happy to. Just let me know down below. And what is Jillian and Jilly Juice up to today? Well, ever since their big Facebook group with 53,000 people plus got shut down, they have reopened a business page under Jilly Juice LLC. And she's still basically promoting her crap. This has a much less membership than the old group did, as you can see. Only about 1,400 people, 1,500 follow. She has her email and everything there. I don't feel that I'm doxing here because it's all out there. And she still preaches her bizarre gospel of basically salt and roughage, and she has updated the recipe, by the way. It's now 1 cup of cabbage or kale, not 2. 2 cups of specific distilled pH water, 1 tablespoon white table non-iodized salt or with non-additive. Okay, so she's gone from the pink Himalayan sea salt now to just table salt, as long as it's non-iodized. So you can use pretty much any salt except for, you know, Morton's. So there you go. So she's really kind of downgraded that a little bit, and she's still preaching, you know, that Candida is the source of all your woes, and that you can solve it with roughage and salt and water. And of course, with the old cult mentality, the people that used to follow her old page were absolutely bizarre, and they were almost deadly to anybody that toxic to anybody that actually spoke out against her. And she still has that cult mentality, you know, avoid the wrong people. Very paramount to most cults. So glad I gained some weight over the summer because I have enough reserves to handle this cold without coming up. Okay, she's just excusing being chubby. I can relate. But yeah, she's still preaching the same old gospel. In fact, I'm going to play a little excerpt from one of her recent videos here to let you know that this message of insanity is still very much alive and well. And now with the production of her new book, she's still out there. Even with all the FTC warnings and the investigations in her local Ohio area. I noticed she has moved from the Canton area now to the Akron area. So, yeah, she's still out there.
Especially with what's going on. So, low sodium diets keep latent viruses that have been burrowing in your immune system dormant. Low sodium diets keep latent viruses that are proliferated all over your immune system completely dormant. And then what happens is when there is a huge virus in the vicinity, like a COVID, like a Lambda, like a Delta Plus, more influential viruses set off a chain reaction and activate your immune system. That's why you see everyone suffering from symptoms when they get exposed to a virus. It's because it activates the different viruses that were laying dormant. And when those viruses lay dormant, they send off crazy messages. It's called cancer, disease, chronic illness, obesity. It's called all the different autoimmune disorders. And so when you are suffering from a very specific viral programming and you are disproportional, you start seeing your body break down, it's because all those different viruses are sending off messages, cannibalizing the energy in your body, and then you're not utilizing the resources that you bring into your body, like the food supply. And so what happens is then like, oh, when you start eating more salt, you feel like, oh, you feel bloated because, yeah, your body isn't used to salt, so it triggers the antidiuretic hormone. When you eat more salt, you feel like you're having high blood pressure, which really, it's not really high blood pressure. It's the fact you need to drink more water because when you don't drink enough water, then the antidiuretic hormone comes up and starts bloating you. Also, too, hypercalcemia. When you're taking too much vitamin D and you're not processing the vitamin D correctly, then it brings up more calcium, which clogs up your blood vessels. Hey, Mal, it clogs up your blood vessels, and that's why people have to take blood thinners.
But that is the story of Jilly Juice. And if you want to know more about it, I highly recommend checking out Jeff Holiday. He was the YouTuber in the Dr. Phil segment. Brilliant, brilliant man. One of my favorites. There's also a great series on this by the Illuminati, Blair, as well as Amanda the Jedi did a great in-depth discovery on this. This is more of a quickie for us, but since we cover cults and scams, I figured this was a good combination. If you'd like me to do more digging into pseudoscience and quote-unquote homeopathic medicine, please let me know. I really enjoy getting in and debunking this stuff. But with that being said, until next time, Keto and Crime, out.